Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's MedMake here. Today I'm going to talk about the McLaren team during 2023 season MCL 60. This car started the season very poorly, and they had the dramatic, insane progress as the season went on. In the beginning of the season, they were one of the worst cars. They scored around 17 points from the first 8 races and ended up being one of the best cars in the grid for 187 points during the last 8 races. So you can see this massive progress during a season, which I've been following Formula One for nearly a decade, but I never seen such a great progress like that. But what happened that they were able to improve this greatly and this massively during only one season? One thing that we have to notice is that MCL 60 is an evolution of MCL 36. MCL 60 is the race car of McLaren during 2023 season, and MCL 36 is the race car of McLaren during 2022 season. Both of these cars have a similar design philosophy to Red Bull, and Red Bull is dominating the Formula One. So the engineers of McLaren, they knew that this design has a lot of potential because Red Bull is using it and they're winning every race. So they have to find out the ways to unleash these potentials. They were not able to do it in the beginning of the season, but with these updates that they brought, they were able to make it better and better race by race to make one of the greatest car of the grid at the end of a season. Let's have a flashback to the regulation changes during 2023 season. At the beginning of the 2023 season, all cars have to raise their height, the height of the chassis for 15 millimeter. And that really hits the McLaren team, especially because they were not able to generate the downforce from underneath the car. It makes it so challenging. The making vacuum and using ground effect is harder when the car is higher. Eventually, they were able to release the car, but the car was so draggy, also very unstable during high speed corners, also middle speed 90-degree corners. The rear of the car was very unstable, and it was hard for the drivers to control the car during high speed corners. As the season went by, from that unstable car, they brought new updates every now and then, and we're gonna go through the most important aspects of those updates and let you know that which updates had what kind of effect on the car performance. And we'll see how they were able, step by step, to make the car the best, one of the best cars in the grid. Before we get to the technical aspect of the video, I would like to explain something more as well. The wind tunnel, the new wind tunnel of McLaren team. McLaren team, they were making a new wind tunnel, and during the 2023 season, it started actually way before, but they were able to finish it during that time. But some people might say that this new wind tunnel really helped the team. However, it's not going to help with the technical aspect. All the updates of McLaren team up to Singapore were done inside Toyota's wind tunnel. At the time, the new wind tunnel of McLaren team were inside their own facility in England, were not finished. So they did all these developments of the MCL 60 in the Toyota's factory inside Germany. But now they have their own facility and wind tunnel for 2024 season. They can save time and of course money to avoid all the traveling to Germany to do the testing and bring back all the datas. One thing that worth mentioning is that having a new wind tunnel actually doesn't necessarily mean they have better equipment or they were able to make better updates, because the Red Bull team that we know they dominated the season. They are using actually the oldest wind tunnel of all teams. It's actually a wind tunnel belonged to Second World War, and now they are using it. They used to develop aircrafts in it, and they dominated the season with this old equipment and old piece of machinery, the wind tunnel. Um, However, is beneficial for them, for McLaren team, having their own wind tunnel inside their own facility to save time and money. The first update that I want to talk about is the side pod. The change of the side pod along the season. You can see from this picture in the race website, the start of the season, the Austria and the Singapore, which is the beginning of the season, middle season, and almost the end of the season. You can see this side pod, how much it get bigger and bigger, which allows more air going to the side pod and allows more expansion happening at the sides of a car. So we're gonna have more pressure on top of the car, on top of the floor of a car, and feeding the diffuser even more as a result. So you can see how much this has increased over the season. And of course it comes with changes in the cooling system. This is the intake of the radiators, so you can see all these redesigning the side of a car because of the changes in cooling system. The second major update that McLaren came up with along the season was the tunnel shaped side pod, that they created a tunnel shape on top of the side pod so they can capture more air inside that tunnel, so they can have more expansion, as a result more pressure based on Quanta effect, and they can guide this air towards the diffuser to have even better performance out of diffuser. In the top two picture you can see the old design, which here there is a lot of chance of air going out of the side pod and being wasted. Whereas by having this tunnel, you can have more air and guide more air towards the side of the car and kind of control this amount of air. This picture is showing the difference between the old and the new design of side pod tunnel. The old design is completely prone to air escape from the side of the car. However, the new design, this steep slope of the tunnel captures as much air as it can to allow more expansion at the side of the car and guide this air towards the diffuser. Also, I selected this picture to show you how deep this tunnel goes down and how this sort of wall is created at the side of the tunnel to avoid air escape. In the third and last major update I'm going to talk about the floor of a car. The floor used to have these flaps that direct the air goes around the rear wheels instead of going directly at it to avoid tire skirt. However, with this new floor, which is completely flat, and with this cut in the diffuser, they're allowing air going to the diffuser and feeding diffuser even more, which results in better performance. Therefore, instead of directing the air going around the rear wheels, they're directing it going inside the diffuser, which ended up having better performance. Thank you very much for watching this video. This improvement of McLaren team was so great and so profound that made me curious about it, and I read a lot of articles and saw a lot of videos about it and made a conclusion for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.